Okay, here we go. Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to An Eternity of Basketball. And how do you like our new look for this episode? Our first time on StreamYard, and it's also our first episode partnering up with Globally Ballin, the Globally Ballin Network. So thanks for coming aboard, guys. And before we begin, just a reminder that you can actually find our show, including the old episodes, in audio form on Spotify by simply searching An Eternity of Basketball in the search bar. And now you can take us on the go and never miss an episode. So check us out today. There you go. Our podcast is on Spotify. So many changes entering episode number 35 of An Eternity of Basketball. Thank you for joining us once again. So, ladies and gentlemen, we get the show on the road. My name is Noel Zarate, and as usually, alongside attorney Charlie Cuna and Sid Ventura. And we're all wearing green, including the Laker boy over there. We're all wearing green today. In honor of our guest, today, who is the first ever NBA and PBA champion. And we will get the ball rolling now with Coach Glenn McDonald joining us all the way from California. Good evening to you, Glenn, and good morning from us here in the Philippines.
Good evening, good morning. Glad to be on.
All right, Glenn, thank you very much for joining us right here. And we were talking before the show that you're still in touch with some of your former PBA teammates and your coach, Tommy Manotoc. First question I have for you is, how are things going for you there in California with all this COVID stuff going down?
Actually, it's going pretty good overall. You just you have to pay attention to what's happening, follow rules. Like we talked about before. I won't go through all that again, but it's just some people don't want to. They think they're invincible. Nothing will happen to them, and then you're seeing all the critical situations that are happening to so many people. That it's like, come on, just at least try it. Try to wear your mask. Keep your distance. But like I said, some people are just stubborn, and then all of a sudden they realize that I should have done it, and it's too late. So, but overall, I get up every morning and go, do walking every day, and my wife makes masks. So I've helped her with selling a lot of masks, but overall everything's going good, honestly.
Well, you stay safe over there because this thing is an invisible enemy. So we're glad to know that you're doing fine. Before we get the show going, I'd like to just say I have a shout out to my uncle in Carson City who's actually watching, Uncle Pete Cruz, who's watching us today all the way from Carson City. Now, before everything went down in the present, we will now take you back to the past, Glenn, in your humble beginnings in this sport of basketball. We'd like to know how you got started and what made you love the sport.
Ooh, it's really funny because I think, they asked me the other day, how's your memory? Now you take me really way back. It's like,
That's what we do. That's what we do over here.
Yep.
But I really didn't play a lot of basketball until I think around the 8th grade. When I was younger, I would play a little bit because my other friends were playing, and so I kind of got bounced around as far as we're moving from city to city, and my mother was I had a father who was living with us for a while. Then all of a sudden they broke off, so my mother was taking care of myself and my 3 sisters. So I was like the man in the house. I was the oldest, and so I had to get involved with that. So I was really more doing anything more so than anything was trying to take care of my sisters and then going to school. But then every now and then you get that free time where you can go out and play a little basketball or play softball or whatever you want to do in baseball. But I didn't really start playing until it was the 8th grade when I decided I wanted to start playing basketball because a friend of mine, well, he was older. He was in high school. And I used to watch him go. I would go watch him play. And I said, oh, I want to be like Ricky. His name was Ricky Scott. I'll never forget. He's passed and everything. And when I was just getting ready to start playing, and my mother liked me to play sports. So what happened was all of a sudden she decides to move to California. We lived in a little town called Kewanee, Illinois. And it's the hog capital of the world. It's honestly hog capital, like hogs. It is the hog capital of the world. They used to have hog festivals and everything else. So we moved to California, and my punishment to her was I wasn't going to play sports. I wasn't going to play organized sports anyway. I had to go on the playground and play. And finally, I was pretty good, But people ask me, "Are you gonna play in high school? You gonna play this?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna play." And then one of my teammates that became one of my teammates, he was an All-American at Jefferson High School where I went, and he told me, "Well, you probably couldn't make our lowest team anyway." And right then I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And so I went out for the team, and and a couple guys there were wondering, why are you out here? And I said, "I'm really out here because I'm gonna take your spot." And so that was after the 10th grade, and was a senior that used to talk all the time. And so finally, when it was time for us to start playing, I was the one in the starting lineup, and he was coming off the bench. And so that's where it all kind of formed from there, and then kept going from that point on.
Coach Glenn,
Wow.
when did
Did
you?
you have any early influences? Go ahead, Charlie. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, how tall were you already by that time when you were starting to play? Were you pretty tall already by that time?
I was right at 6 feet.
Okay.
When I was 13, I was 6 feet tall. So and then I used to watch. I had big hands. So I know you're getting ready to say influences, but I had big hands, and I used to love to watch Connie Hawkins play. And so I used to kind of emulate him. I used to emulate him a lot. I mean, I was a really one-handed player. And that's how he was the guy I kind of wanted to pattern my game like, and I get the ball and take off with it. And you'd see me go up with one hand. It was one hand jump shots, one hand layups. It didn't matter. Everything was one hand. So, and at that time also, I could only go right. Somebody tried to send me left, I could go one, two dribbles left, but I was so quick that I just switch it back over to the right, and then I'll run everybody. So, but I didn't have a lot of handle or anything like that at all, especially when I was younger.
Okay. Well,
Coach, how did you end up playing for Long Beach State?
No, well, okay, this is the crazy situation. I didn't know too much. No one in my family went to college. Okay, and so mother, father, nobody went to college. And so I start getting notice from different schools, Washington, Oregon, Kansas, Maryland, just really getting a lot of big schools were coming after me. And I really didn't understand the process at that time anyway. But my coach, he was telling me that certain schools were trying to get in touch with me. And then, of course, I've heard of all these other schools and watching on TV, but they said Long Beach State, and I'm like, I never heard of Long Beach State. Where is Long Beach? I didn't know it was in California. Honestly, I swear I didn't. And so like 40 minutes down the freeway from where I lived, I had no clue because I was in that bubble in South Central. If you want to call it the hood or whatever you want to call it, but that was my area. So I never really ventured too far out of that area, and so I started getting recruited, and they kept sending me letters, and they kept calling me. And I'm like, who is this school? And so finally, I heard about this guy, Jerry Tarkanian, and he was at a junior college, and then he came to Long Beach State and started making that team good. And I was in a situation that I hated UCLA because they were just
Really?
won all the time. I was one of those underdog kind of people. I hated UCLA, and people are saying that Long Beach State can possibly end up matching up with UCLA. And that was one of the big reasons why I ended up choosing Long Beach State, because I wanted to go to a school that had a legit chance of beating UCLA. And, and they weren't really recruiting me hard. They were recruiting me, but they weren't really after me. Like all the other schools, they really wanted me. UCLA was like, well, maybe, that type of thing. And so I was kind of annoyed with that because, of course, even though you might not want to go there, you still want them to show that they really want you.
all right.
And so then it ended up being Long Beach State, and if I had to do it all over again, I would have done it all over again because I ended up having a great career there. I love the coaches there. My teammates, we still keep in contact with each other, so it was a good situation for me.
Jerry Tarkanian's one of the all-time best, as we know. But then eventually, the Boston Celtics picked you up in the '74 draft. You came in as the 17th overall pick. Were you surprised that that you went in the first round in that draft, or were you expecting to be in the first round?
I honestly wasn't expecting it. I was fortunate. I started knowing that I was going to probably get drafted by somebody. Right near the end of my junior year, a lot of people started kind of talking because my role at Long Beach State was I was a defensive standout. Excuse me.
Okay.
when I came out of high school, I was averaging around 30 points a game. And then I get to Long Beach State, and they've got big time players already there that can score. And so I was barely, at that time, your freshman year, you had to play freshman basketball. You didn't go straight to the varsity. And so then when I did get to varsity, I was coming off the bench. Sometimes I play a whole game. Sometimes I play a couple minutes. It was just erratic. You never knew what was going to happen. And so we finally played against this team, University of Pacific, and they had this little guard named John Ericart, that was just, he could shoot the lights out. And he lit us up for like 36. And so we had to play them again at our place the next week. And I told Tark, I can guard that guy, and so then another All-American, this guy, Ed Ratliff, he goes, hey, coach, Matt can guard him. So he put me in the starting lineup that day, and we got 6 points. And from that point on, I was a defense. From that point on, I took over as the starting, 2 guard, and I was a defensive specialist. And I went from there. And so that's how that happened with that. But I got to start getting noticed because my senior year, Lute Olson came in, and he remembered when I was in high school. So he was like, I want you to start scoring. So then my senior year, I averaged 17 points a game, but I was still a defensive player. And I think the scouts started seeing that I kind of go both ways. I never came out of the games unless I was in foul trouble because the coach really relied on me being out there running the team. And so that's really how everything happened. All of a sudden, I get drafted by the Celtics, the team I hated because they won all the time.
But how did your career at Long Beach State go? I mean, how did the team do when you were there, and then how did you do, particularly against UCLA? Did you ever get to play against that team from UCLA?
Yeah, we lost to them by 1.
Okay.
We lost to UCLA. Yeah, we did. We lost to them by 1 point. Then the second time we played them, we ended up losing to them by 14 or something like that. But the career we lost, I just looked at something the other day. I forgot what our record was overall. Something like 9 games we lost or something like that. I know we never lost at home. We never lost at home. There was no way someone was coming in there beating us at our place. And then my senior year, we were 24-2, and we lost to Marquette at Marquette and Colorado at Colorado, both by 1 point. So we had a great career. But my senior year, we couldn't go to the tournament. We couldn't go. We were 24-2, but we couldn't go to the NCAA tournament because the NCAA came in and said that Tarkanian had done a lot of violating.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway,
but how was it? What was it like, Coach Glenn, to play against that UCLA team? I mean, there were superstars on that team in the early '70s. That was part of their run under John Wooden. Can you tell us what the experience was like to be maybe did you play at Pauley Pavilion? Were you able to experience that whole thing with all those superstars?
We never played them in the regular season.
Okay.
And remember, and during that time, in the NCAA tournament, they would bunch everybody in your region only. Where now, if it had been now, it could have been UCLA and Long Beach in the finals because they might put us in the East and something like that. But during that time, the West, they were West. So you lose to UCLA, you're done. And so it was just a different situation. But playing against them was it was fun because first of all, everybody knew each other. Bill Walton, Jamal Wilkes, all these guys, we all knew each other. We played in the summer, we all played together. We go to the park and find a park, and hey, we're meeting at the park, down at this park. All go down. So we all knew each other. We were just trying to get that bragging rights, in regards to the school against the school. So it was really not too much different in regards to when you play against them because we played so many times against them. It was just the organization. You're playing against UCLA. That was when you say UCLA, you're talking prime time. And so but to be as close as we were and lose a game to 1 by 1 point, that was pretty devastating right there. It would have been unbelievable to beat them. So, but that's how it was. And that's how to this day UCLA, no matter who plays UCLA, they still want to beat UCLA. Just from the past,
Exactly.
Just like the Celtics and Lakers, just to beat them. We want to beat them. So
Right.
crazy.
Yeah, you just want to put that sign, that you run around Boston Garden and says beat LA. In your case, it's beat UCLA.
Yes.
Sort of got used to that, I guess, right? But then, of course, Long Beach State treated you well, and you had a pretty good career there. And then you wind up with the Boston Celtics. And what was it like being in that organization? You said you hated the organization because they always won. But being in a winning organization like that must have been mind-boggling in your first day at practice.
No, it was mind-boggling just when I first went there to negotiate the contract. Just to see, first of all, to have to deal with Red Auerbach, who was an idiot. Genius, but my God, he was something else. And he knew he was God in Boston. There's nothing nobody could say about Red Auerbach. And you have to give him his credit because he developed something special in Boston. And then after he stopped coaching, he was still special in that front office, So, but just to go there and then see the flags hanging, the banners hanging up in the garden, and then just being in the garden, the old garden is unbelievable being in there. Just the fact that you're there with all that history, and then all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're thinking, man, my God, I'm at the Boston Garden and I'm getting ready to play for the champions. So then your whole attitude just changes. I can get a ring. Maybe I can get a ring. So you think like that. But the organization in general was first class. I mean, the coaching. Tommy Heinz did a great job while he was coaching, and then he was my coach at that time. And then you think about just the history, and you see how the people there in Boston just love the Celtics. I mean, it's not just the Celtics. You have their hockey teams, you have their baseball teams. They're just a sports town in general, and so but then you're there representing the Celtic, and so you're just, I don't know. It's really hard to describe because, like you said, mind-boggling. It is that at the same point.
Yeah. Glenn, when you were drafted, before you were drafted, did you have any inkling that the Celtics were gonna pick you, or was it a complete surprise? Because after all, I think 1974.
Yes.
Then when they drafted you, so did you have a hint beforehand, or was it a complete surprise?
No. It was a big surprise. I had a feeling that the Milwaukee Bucks was really interested in me. And so because then they ended up choosing after the Celtics, but I knew that they were looking at me, seriously looking at me, but I had no clue. And then the ABA was going on, and I knew that Memphis was looking at me in the ABA as well. But even if I got drafted, my thing was I don't care how low I get drafted in the NBA. If I do, I'm not going to Memphis. I'm not during those days. I'm I don't think I could take that. So just the way things are down there. So but my coach called me the day of the draft. One of my assistant coaches, and he said, "Glenn, you just got drafted." I said, "Oh, really? By who?" He says, "You got drafted first round to the Boston Celtics." I said, "Are you kidding me?" I'll never forget the conversation. I said, "You kidding me?" He said, "No, it's Boston Celtics." And he was just really ecstatic about it. I said, "Okay, coach, well, I'll call you back because I'm in the middle of moving right now." and he
so you didn't buy it, huh?
No, I did, but I was in the middle of moving. I was serious. I was like, I'm moving right now, so I'll call you back. He says, "Did you hear what I just told you?" And yeah, coach, but I said, but I have a load of stuff in the U-Haul, and I'm getting ready to take it over to my new apartment, because I was just moving out of the place. He said, "I cannot believe you." I said, "Okay, I'll call you back, coach," and I hung up. And he was so pissed. He came over to the other apartment and just ring me. He said, "Do you understand? There's a Boston Celtics. Yeah, how many people get that opportunity?" I'm like, I said, "Coach,
you sounded like Johnny Most just now. You sounded like Johnny Most just now."
Yeah. I said, "Coach, I don't get all excited about stuff." He said, "Well, this is something you should be excited about. Your mother, I know your mother's gonna be excited about. Your sisters, And I said, "Okay." I said, "You're right. Okay, something. Coach, you're really, really right. So let's just talk about this right now." And so we sat down and talked, about, just the opportunities of playing behind John Havlicek and just play at some point if you had to within place of Jojo White and Don Chaney, and we just talked about things like that, and so it was funny because Havlicek opened himself to me so quickly, just said, hey, I need to talk to you, when I first got there for training camp. And he said, anything you need to know, talk to me, we'll talk about stuff, And so right then I saw that these guys are all about a team, about winning, and Don Nelson was the same way. Don Chaney, I don't remember if you remember him, but Don Chaney, he was the same way. And Don Chaney was actually, his whole family, his nephew is my priest at the church. I've been knowing him that long, so it's I don't know, it was just different, it was just one of those kind of things that you really get caught up in, and it just worked out,
You need to tell us, Coach, about Coach Tommy Heinz and what kind of a person was he? Because he was a tough guy when he used to play back in the day. He was like an enforcer for the Celtics, but how was he as a coach?
He as a coach, he tried to be an enforcer, okay, but I think that honestly, he's still a team guy at the same time. I think he's an enforcer against other opponents, but he's a team guy within his own team. So he used to really, I really appreciated him in the sense that he let his players dictate a lot of stuff that we were going to do. He had his own system. He liked to run, he liked to gun, those type of things, and defensively. But when it got down to crunch time, a lot of times, he's going to talk to his players. He's going to talk to Havlicek. He's going to talk to Jojo White, Paul Silas, all his veterans, to find out, hey, which direction should we go? And that's what I appreciated about him. Charlie Scott, those kind of people. And then, you have the big redhead, Dave Collins. Dave stepped in and said, no, let's don't do that. Get the ball to so-and-so. And so he would listen, he would listen. So you don't find a lot of coaches. I think you find so many of those coaches nowadays are a little bit better with the players, letting them be involved more. 'Cause I know back in the day, the coaches, that was it. Coaches are going to do it. This is what you're going to do, and as simple as that. But as time is gone, you see a lot of players, you wonder who really is the coach, because a lot of players are out there running things. So, but Tommy, he was good. He knew how to get his people motivated, just the way he would talk to us. And, I enjoyed him being my coach.
And we're looking at a picture right now, actually. Team. You got guys like Dave Collins, Paul Silas there. They're all there in front. Your Hondo's right there as well. Jojo White, Don Nelson. This is a special group of guys. When you got together with them in '74, of course, Golden State won the championship that year. But did you think, we were just like, you were just like a few pieces away, or probably just a few practices away from being an NBA champion caliber team?
Yeah, once the season got started, I thought we could win a championship that year. And I think I can't, now that's the part I'm bad. I can't remember who actually knocked us out, because when we lose, I don't think about stuff no more when I lose. It's like, okay, forget this thing, But I really felt that we could have probably won that first year, and then and then the second year, we were able to pull it. My second year, we were able to pull it out. But there are a lot of good teams during that time. Like you said, Golden State, Washington. There was good teams. Philadelphia was always good. Even Buffalo during the time when Bob McAdoo was there, and Randy Smith, the little guards. And McMillan, and Jim McMillan, who was with the Lakers, but he was with them for a while. They had a very potent team as well. In Philadelphia, had Daryl Dawkins, and my God, that man-child. So the East was pretty tough at that time.
The thing that strikes me most about this photo, I think this is the only photo where you have 34 and 33 of the Celtics standing right next to each other, because those two numbers are retired, and they're also the numbers of my two favorite Celtics of all time, of course, Larry Bird and Paul Pierce.
That's Jim Hart and Steve Kaburski.
Could we go through the entire roster, starting with the guy seated at front? I think that's Charlie Scott,
number 11,
right?
Besides Silas.
Charlie Scott, 11. Paul Silas, 35, and Dave Collins. Then, of course, the coaches and Red Auerbach, and then John Havlicek, 17, Jojo White, 10, Don Nelson, number 19. And then you go up in the back, at 42 is Jerome Anderson, 33 is Steve Kaburski, then there's Jim Ard, and 31 is Tommy Boswell, and then 30 is Glenn McDonald, and then it's Kevin Statham. Kevin Statham was a guard from Providence, very, very good, very good guard. Right. I think he ended up staying. I think he was in the league at least 4 or 5 years. He held on pretty good.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But that front row is a Hall of Famer front row right there.
Yes, it is. That's the truth. Yeah, they forgot to stick me in there though. But
PBA Hall of Fame. PBA Hall of Fame.
I'll take it.
So you're this young kid with all of these guys who had won championships before, but your time was going to come because you're supposed to be backing up John Havlicek, as you said. But whenever you got the minutes, before you checked into the game, did guys like Dave Collins and Don Nelson say, "Hey kid, this is what you need to do"? Did they give you a little bit of an advice before you came in?
No, the only time they would give me a little advice would be at practice or, before the day before the game. They'd tell me then, hey, just be ready because you never know when your number's going to be called. It says Tommy's kind of, inconsistent sometimes, so you might play tonight, you might not play tomorrow, so you just never know, but just be ready. That's all but when it's time to go in the game, no one ever said anything to me. It's like, Glenn, Tommy would say, Matt, get in there, and I just get up and go, so my biggest issue was I kept getting hurt all I would play, and then I would seem like I was just coming around, then I'd get an injury. I get a hip pointer, I get a sprained ankle, and then I'd have to sit out for a while, and then you have to come back, and then, start all over again. And that's, because my rookie year especially, I was getting good minutes, but it was too inconsistent in regards to the health aspect,
Hey, Coach, I'd like to ask, can I just do this now because the picture's on the screen? I'm just going to say a name, and then can you just tell us one sentence about that person? Charlie Scott.
Quick as lightning, crazy as can be, shoot the ball extremely well, and then plays defense, but he's relentless, always going to make you work, always.
Paul Silas.
Strong, one of my good friends, one of the best rebounders that's played the game, and very, very consistent. You can rely on him and he's going to come through every night.
How about the big red guy?
Big red guy is a monster.
Dave Collins.
For somebody 6'9", can do everything. He shoot the ball, rebound, extremely aggressive, and wants to win, plays with passion every night. And
then, of course, Hondo,
my dad's favorite.
The true professional.
My favorite.
He could run for days. Is it true? The guy could run for days. They said
he could run forever. He had they say he had an enlarged heart or whatever, but he if it was enlarged, he took advantage of it. That's for sure. Just a true professional. Someone is going to be on everybody's All-American, All-NBA, any kind of team, he's going to be there just because of his attitude towards the game.
And then just the last guy, the silent guy, Jojo White.
You called it too, silent assassin. He's every bit of a team player, but if he has to take over a game, he's going to take it over.
Charlie left out Don Nelson. I just wanted to ask, when you were with Don Nelson, did you have any inkling that one day he would be a successful NBA coach?
No, not not at all. I think a lot of it just because of how Don was. Don liked to drink his beers, and I never thought that Don was a real.
Have you seen him lately? Have you seen how he looks now?
Yes. Yeah. I have. I was hoping that I planned on going to. I told him that whenever I come to Maui, I'm coming by that house. I'm going to find him. Because I don't really keep in really contact with him, but we'll always get someone who's seen him, and then they'll say, "Hey, Glenn, have you talked to Don?" I'll say, "No." So then I said, here's a number for him. But he changes his number all the time. So I'll call him. And then after that, I can't get in touch with him anymore. But he's in his own world. I'll tell you what. But as you said, I never expected him. He is so successful. He was such a great coach. I loved watching him. When he started coaching, I was like, this man, he knows how to put it together. And then he played the way players want to play. Up and down, shoot that ball, get it. We're not wasting a bunch of time. We're not playing around with the clock. We're going to get the ball and we're going to go with it and score. That's simple as that.
Well, so, he got that lucky shot. He got that lucky shot that bounced so high in the air.
Oh, yeah. That thing bounced
69
back, didn't it? It came straight down through. No, but Don is so low key. Well, he's really low key now, but back then he was so low key. He just took it day at a time. That's just how he's always been. Dave Collins is the one that's really he's amazing because when the year that they cut me when I got released after we won the championship, then they came back that year and they brought Sidney Wicks and Curtis Rowe in. Mm-hmm. I told Heinz when he let me go that those two are not Celtic players. They're not team players. I'm telling you. And I told him that when he let me go. And Dave, after a couple of practices and stuff, Dave actually quit the team. Collins, and he drove a taxi. For about 3 months.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't even know that he drove a taxi just so he didn't have to deal with being around them. And finally everything happened, and then he got back with the team and stuff. But he's a no nonsense kind of guy, Dave. And that's how Nelly was. They're just really low key guys. I used to tell them they were hippies.
Well, yeah. Nelly, of course, Nelly popularized Nelly ball. That's what his coaching style came to be known by, right? Because he was so unorthodox. He did things ahead of his time, right? So, that's how he made his mark. And Cowens also was a coach for a while. But my memory of Dave Cowens was, I think he was called for a tiki-taki foul. And then he was incredulous. He was very angry at the referee. And then on the next play, he like ran over the guy who he fouled and really just leveled him. And then he looked at the referee and said, "Now that's
a foul,
freaking foul." So something like that.
Yeah, that was against Mike Newman from
the Nets.
Houston Rock with that Houston.
Oh, Houston. Okay, Houston. Okay.
I'll never forget that myself. I remember that. I tell people about that all the time. That, if you want to give him a foul, he's going to let the referee know that's a real foul. So it's too bad that the guy had to take the brunt from it, but
wasn't his fault, right?
But he ran him over and deliberately just ran him over, and then turned around to the ref and said, "That's a foul." I'll never forget that. Oh my God.
Yeah, I was looking at the 1974-75 season. You said you didn't remember what happened. You guys got eliminated by the Bullets, I think, in the Eastern Conference Finals. But the Bullets went on to lose to Rick Barry and the Warriors in the finals. But after that disappointing title defense 75, how did the team approach the 75-76 season?
Oh, from the beginning, you could, especially the veterans, the older guys, you could just see that, they felt that they gave the championship up, and we're taking this championship no matter who we play this year. And so you could tell it in practices, the intensity in practice, the intensity, just on the floor, during regular season games. But they had in their mind that these guys, they wanted that championship. They felt they gave it away, the year before, and I could see it even more so once the regular season was over, we went into the playoffs. Then people just really don't understand, at least during those days, they don't really understand how intensified practices become in the playoffs. And that's the practices, because it's like you're having war in practice just to get ready for playoffs. And I even the year before I saw it a little bit, but that particular year, you could tell they wanted it so bad that you had to really be on your P's and Q's, because you end up getting hurt out there. It was just that physical during that time.
Should we
Before we
already
continue,
dive?
we gotta, yeah, sorry, Charlie. Before we continue, we just got a few fans here, a bunch of fans already saying hi to Glenn. Of course, former PBA player Aldo Perez is also here. Boyet also. Everybody's Ramon Diaz, Tony Valenzuela, our top fans. So thank you very much for joining us very early this
Jimmy
morning here
Manansala as well.
in the Philippines. Jimmy Manansala as well, another former PBA player. That's a former guest on the show. Charlie, go ahead. You were saying.
No, there's also some guys who are listening from Toronto. There's a guy who's tuned in from Missouri. So they're all over the place listening to Coach Glenn McDonald here on our show. Anyway, I was going to say, should we go right into it? Because we have to talk about what a lot of people say is the greatest game in NBA
I think it's still the greatest game ever history of the NBA.
Right.
That was a game against the Phoenix Suns for the NBA in the NBA championship. We have a video here that we want to share with you, Glenn. I'm sure you've seen this before. Maybe you could do your own annotation over Brent Musburger, who did the color game.
Yeah.
And Arsdale, who broke that left wrist earlier in the year, still wearing the.
Oh, look at that! Look at that!
McDonald, the second.
That's a thin guy.
In, and
How old were you here?
Havlicek comes to guard. And a reign of terror here so far. Again has got the rebound. Here's the youngster McDonald giving it back to Cowan.
He's the youngster McDonald.
He was a youngster.
That's what the announcer said.
I'm listening. I hear it.
Glenn McDonald gave it up hard. Didn't expect the pass.
That's a great save, though.
Glenn McDonald, who can't shoot the ball, sees Jimmy Hart passes to him. Curtis Curry cannot stop himself and runs into him.
Yeah, that's right. I think.
McDonald outside.
There you go.
4 points.
Yeah, every now and then I look to take a shot. Every now and then.
Whether you get set.
Here's the overtime, the third overtime.
Off to Jojo White on the penetration of McDonald, and a beautiful pass, and it was Glenn McDonald who made it 120-118, 135, and I believe John McLeod.
This whole situation is crazy.
He is, but they see him. They watch it. They don't see him. Garfield Hurst, top shot. Get in out, battle with Milton. John McLeod wanted timeout and couldn't get it. 120-118 and 120 to go.
And this is where we work on this all the time. We coming off the baseline. Havlicek used to work with this all the time.
For Glenn McDonald, it's 122-118. Now they're getting the timeout.
Coming off the baseline.
They're moving the ball well. Havlicek passes it off to Jojo. Jojo goes into the basket, draws Van Arsdale. Great pass over to McDonald. Doesn't waste any time, right off the board and in. Big basket, and here he comes again. The youngster is going to come through in the clutch. There's the pass by Havlicek, turns around, takes the shot. Not an easy shot.
Yeah, it's a tough shot. That guy was right in your face, Coach.
That's like Red Auerbach said.
Here's Dick Van Arsdale up in the air. Glenn McDonald. He's had a big rebound, knocked away from him and out of bounds. Foul. It was a foul on the play. Glenn McDonald had control, I'll tell you. He's come off the bench and played himself a basketball game. It has been that kind of contest. The Celtics are in
8 points in overtime, if I'm not mistaken, right, Glenn?
McDonald. Two big baskets, a pair of free throws, a rebound. Came off the bench.
Overtime.
He has been a disappointment to the Celtics this year.
Okay.
But here when they...
So let's talk about the video for now.
That was
No, let's yeah.
Because, what happened was with Steve Kaburski, he was like a power forward, and Paul Silas had found out the game. And I tapped Steve, like you're saying, did you ever say anything to you before you go into the game? Well, I told Steve, because that was a power forward with Paul Silas, I said, Steve, Paul just fouled out. Get ready. You're getting ready to go in. And then all of a sudden, I hear Mac. And I'm like, oh, shit, okay. So I just jump up and I'm like, okay. And so he goes, good, Mac. They're tired, run them. You're fresh, run them. And so that's what the thing he knows. That was something. Whenever we went places to play people, I go out on the court and they go, man, don't start that running all over the place. Because I used to run, all of this run. And they said, don't start all that running. So all the opponents always knew that Glenn liked to run. If you're going to guard Glenn, man, you got to be ready because he's going to run all night, And so kind of like Havlicek, just run, and get yourself positioned where John finally, at an earlier time, he had told me, Glenn, don't run just to run with a purpose. Because I used to just run, so, and I developed that knowing when to take off, when not to. But so when he told me to go in, he just said, run them, Mac, run them, and so that's how, with them being a little bit tired, able to take advantage. But the fact was that, like I tell my kids and my students and my kids that I coach, be ready when your name's called, when your number's called, just be ready. Because you never know. You sit there pounding, then they call you don't know what's going on. So just pay attention defensively, pay attention to what they're doing offensively. So in case they call your name, you're ready. So I was just fortunate to be ready, and I was blessed that they called my name. So, and it's like you say, it's a game that everybody talks about. The best game ever played, and I'm in that game. That's it's fun to look back. My grandson, he just saw it the other day. My son played it for him, and he taped him while he was watching it because they live in Boston. And he taped him while he was watching it, and he would just go. They call me G, and he's like, "Go G, go G! Oh my God, good shot, G!" He's looking at it as if I'm playing right now.
How did you feel, Coach, when Gar Hurd turned around and made that big shot?
Yeah.
Now that something, that's one of those kind of shots that you really kind of think they're going to win this game. It's one of those things that we had to come back out that locker room. We thought we had to come back out because we thought we won. Then he hits a shot like that. It's like, oh man, it's kind of like it's destined that they're going to really win this game, So, but fortunately, we kept playing and they kept playing, and we were able to, pull it through ourselves. But that was an unbelievable shot. And I keep looking at it. I keep saying that if it was been now, we would have lost it because it was like a 3-point shot. So,
right, that's right.
So that was.
But in that third overtime, you guys were up 6 in that third overtime, thanks to you. But then it wasn't over because Paul Westphal scored back-to-back shots too. And I was watching it, and I said, Paul Westphal is such a special player that he was actually trying to will the Suns back into the game. So you talk about Paul Westphal and his impact on that team.
Well, Paul is one of the smartest basketball players I've known. I've known Paul ever since he was at USC, and when he was in high school, we used to hear about this guy because he played out in the Valley. Paul Westphal, and he was averaging high points, and his name was all over the place, but you never saw pictures of him. So most of the guys, we all thought he was black, because he was doing too much. We just didn't think he was a white kid. Because we're hearing about him dunking on people and things like that, And finally, you meet him, and it's like, damn, this is Paul Westphal, And so, but he's just a student of the game. He's a student of the game, extremely, skilled. I just thought that you knew that it's not over when he has the ball, because he was so creative, and that was the thing that's why he left Boston. Because Boston wouldn't let him be like that man to be creative and go one-on-one a lot, those type of things, because that just wasn't Boston. Boston was a team play. They want you to move the ball, pass the ball, pass, cut, but not the one-on-one stuff. And that was Paul Westphal. He was a one-on-one guy, and so that's what happened with him, why he ended up getting traded, to him and Charlie Scott switched places, and he went to Phoenix, and Charlie came to Boston. And Charlie got to just kind of fit in a little bit better because he'd already been in the league a few more years. So he was just ready to come in and try to win. So whatever he had to do to win the championship, Charlie Scott was going to try to do. And him and Jojo became a very, very good tandem. And but Paul Westphal was just an amazing player. Amazing player.
Yeah, I mean, he almost single-handedly brought you guys to a 4th overtime in that game. I mean, I thought it was going to happen.
He was
and you actually had a key. You actually had a turnover that led to one of those field goals, right?
You know something? I was wondering if you were going to say something about that or not.
They had to bring it up.
That's okay. You won the game.
It's okay. But the guy Jim R. who threw me the pass, every time I see him, he always goes, "Glenn, I'm so sorry about that pass. I'm like, man, I said, don't even worry about it. We still won. I said, and if I had been playing more, I said, if I had been playing more, maybe my legs would have been able to get me up a little higher. I don't know, but he does every game. Every time I see him, he always brings that up. He goes, Glenn, man, I'm so sorry about that pass. So, but even my kids around here in the area that watched and saw the tape and things like that, they'll go, Butterfinger. I'm like, oh, are you kidding me?
It was a strong pass.
yeah. I said, oh, are you guys kidding me? I said, hey, but I do have a ring. And then they go, oh, okay, so you're going to go there, huh?
Well, just a little bit of an update. Celtics are up. Yeah, Celtics are up right now against the Raptors 32-16 in the second quarter. So Celtics doing well against the defending champs right now.
We don't jinx them. Yeah, but you guys. I'm not watching right now, actually. Yeah. No, well, eventually, you guys closed out the Suns. And what was the feeling winning that NBA championship?
I think for me, it was just kind of like numbness, extremely, extremely happy, but not knowing what to do, at the same time, because we were in Phoenix. So, you want to celebrate, but you're not at home with all your fans. And, so we did fly out that night. We still got to fly out that night and got back to Boston. And then it was just, unbelievable, winning that championship, and then the people were at the airport for us. And, then we ended up having the parade and everything. But just to win the whole thing is just, I don't know, it's hard to explain because not very many people get a chance to say that they're champions, especially like the NBA champions. And then you feel, excited about that you were in the game. You had something to do with, helping win the championship and to get to that position. And so, it's just, you're just excited, you're just happy. And it just carries through the whole time until the next season gets ready to start. Then hopefully you can repeat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, after you guys won the championship, yeah, go ahead, Charlie.
I was going to say, so after, I was going to start on that same premise. After winning that championship, so the next season comes along, but your NBA career doesn't last much longer after that, Coach, because after a couple of seasons, you find yourself going to the Philippines. So how did that come about?
Okay, that's a situation that we came back. Okay, we won the championship.
Mm-hmm.
I come back to Long Beach, get married, go back to Boston, and get cut. I'm like, are you kidding me? I just got married. Yeah. I just promised her parents I'm gonna take care of her, and now I don't have a job. What the hell is going on? So I'm irritated at the time, but at the same time, I always look at this like this. I've always said, God's got a plan for everybody. So I got released. So you go ahead and be pissed off for a couple of days or whatever. But you have things to do. You can't just sit down and mope and not do anything. Mm-hmm. And so then Don Nelson asked me, he told me to come to. He was the assistant coach with the Bucks. So one of the players had gotten hurt, and so he wanted to know if I wanted to come there, take his place. He's got Mad Dog Carter. If he wanted, if I wanted to take his place until he got back from injury. So I went there for like 2 months, with the Milwaukee Bucks, and so I was there with Alex English, and Junior Bridgman, and Quinn Buckner, that group.
Mm-hmm.
They were the young guys. Not that much younger than me, but still. So I was there for a couple months with them, and then once he got back, I got released, came back to Long Beach, and when I got back here, I started delivering beer.
Okay.
I'm like, hey, I got to get a job. I got to get a job because I hadn't officially graduated from Long Beach State yet. Because once I got drafted, it was like, oh, forget school. So I just stopped going to school, and so I still needed more credits to actually get my degree. So I was just in school, and then I was delivering beer and working at a rec center and just doing anything I could to help take care of my wife. And then I got a chance I had an opportunity to go with the Denver Nuggets, Larry Brown had contacted me. I just got an offer to be a recruiter for McDonald Douglas, a big company here, and I turned that down because Larry Brown said he was going to bring me there. But then I never heard from Larry Brown ever again. So now I don't get that chance. And then I turned down the job. That would have been a great job. And then someone contacted me about because I went to Sweden before I came to the Philippines.
Okay.
Yes.
And so the coach from Sweden, he was my freshman coach at Long Beach State, and he had been over in Sweden for a few years coaching. So he said, I heard that you got released. How about coming over here and playing for me? So you don't hear, so everybody's not saying what happened. So I told my wife, I said, you want to go to her on a second honeymoon? And she's like, what are you talking about? I said, I have an opportunity to go to Sweden. She said, oh, let's do it. Let's do that. So we went over there for a year, and we were the Swedish champions, and we ended up taking third in the Europa Cup. And so then this guy Lee Haven, he played in the Philippines. He contacted me one day and said, Glenn, you should go to the Philippines. Because I wasn't sure if I really wanted to go back to Europe or not. And so I said, go to the Philippines. And I'm not being disrespectful, but first thing I said was, man, I don't want to go play against no midgets. I just played in the NBA and over in Europe. He goes, no, it's not what you think. He says, it's not what you think. And he kept bugging me. He said, man, you need to try it. You need to, this guy from UTEX Wranglers, his name Walter Young, and he heard about you, and he, thinks that you'd fit in. And, he said, and I told him about you. So finally I talked to Walter, and he said, well, just come by, I'll fly you out so you can see what it's all about. So when I got over there, I get off the plane, and I'm just like, my God, this humidity is just killing me already. It's just like, Jesus Christ. So, but the people were really nice and stuff. And so then I went to a couple practices, and I went to, I think it was the first game I saw, I think it was like Toyota playing Philman Bank or somebody like that,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing Mo Fernandez and these guys dunking on Americans. I mean, just fast-paced game, and they're dunking on these guys. I'm like, are you kidding me? And I saw Crispa play because they had Ainsley Truitt. I think he was playing with them, and and so I'm looking at Cesar, and I'm like, who are these kids? And they're looking at me eye to eye. I'm like, I'm just only basically 6'5", and I'm looking at them eye to eye and Gadavin and stuff, and I'm like, they are dunking on people again. I'm like, something, this could be really fun. This could be interesting. So, I told Walter I would come back because it looks like something I would enjoy doing. And that's how I got over there. And, it was just, I was never under contract the whole time I was there. It was just, we just, shaking hands and, and that's how it was. But the first game was scary because we played against, I forgot who we played against, but they're the last place team. And by halftime, I think I had like 6 points or something like that. And I'm like, oh, and we're losing. I'm like, oh, and they're the last place team in the league. And I'm like, oh, this is not gonna look good, because I just got back, but I had to play that same day. And then in the second half, I went for 36. I ended up with 36. I ended up with like 36, 38 points, and we ended up winning the game. And so then it became a trend. Every game I was like down low in points, and then by the end of the game, like second half, so they started calling me second half Mac. That was like a nickname for a while. But that's how I ended up getting over there, and and my God, it was a blessing. Just put it that way. It was really a blessing.
So, Coach, it wasn't Coach Tommy Manotoc who actually recruited you. It was actually Mr. Yu Yang himself.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So I didn't.
Well, that was a special team that was a special team you were with as well. You had guys like the Fritz Gaston. I think was no, not Fritz Gaston. Sorry, Limeng Beng. Boggs Adornado was already on that team, if I'm not mistaken.
No. Boggs came later.
Boggs came later. Yeah, I'm talking about 1978, right? Did you know about the Crispa Toyota? Yeah, the Crispa Toyota were just dominating the league, and then UTEX comes in and just steals the championship. What was that like?
that was that was amazing, because that's all I ever heard about was Chris Matoya, and then Snake Jones was there. He was my teammate at that time. It was Snake, and Snake said, "Man, we got to beat these. That's all they do. Talk about CRISPR this, CRISPR that, Toyota this, Toyota that. We got to take them out." And I'm like, I don't really know what you're talking about, but okay, let's do what we can do. And I mean, he was a great teammate to have, and then Lemon Bang, and Rudolph Kutch, and we had some pretty solid players, to combat. Even with Ricky Panetta, tiny little old Ricky Panetta.
Yeah.
He was a playmaker, just a bright, smart guy, and so
here's a picture of that championship.
I think it's Kutch and I can't remember. I'm trying to think of some of these other guys.
Was Jimmy there? Jimmy Noblezada, was he already there?
Yes, there you go.
Yes,
Jimmy.
right.
Yeah, big time. Jimmy was a workman right there. He didn't play. You can put him on anybody. If he doesn't stop him, they're gonna work hard for it. I'll tell you that, because he's not letting nobody have anything. So
there you are with your trophy.
Is that,
there you go.
Yeah, is that Jerry Sablani also on that team?
No. Samalani came in the 80s.
Yeah. It came in later. Yeah. So I'm trying to look at who I know from this group.
There's Lobo.
Etok.
Oh yeah, Etok Lobo.
Lobo, yeah. I'm trying to think who else. I can't really make out.
Yeah,
it's a clipping. Yeah, but this was
Roy Dallas.
Roy Dallas, there you go.
Yeah,
but because of this, Glenn, you actually made history by being the first NBA champion to win a PBA championship. When you found out that you were the first one to ever do that, what was your reaction?
Something was because, like you said, I didn't know anything about that or anything, but to come over there and do that, because I didn't try to reference the two, the NBA championship, PBA championship, until it happened. Then it's like, damn, won a championship in the States. I come over here to the Philippines, win a championship in the Philippines, and then I find out that because Snake, I knew Snake had been, because Snake was with the Celtics a couple years, like training camp, and they kept saying, Glenn, you're the first person to win a championship, an NBA championship, PBA championship, and then you're the first NBA player to come over here and do that. And I'm thinking about Snake, but then I realized, he's never been in the league. He never played in the league. He never got there. And so that was a kind of like a big honor within myself. To say I'm the first NBA player to play in both and win both. Titles.
We have with some of the fans on the comment thread have said that the other players, you have Romeo Frank and Rudy Heinz.
Yeah.
There you
also
go.
Yeah, and Tony Desanya is also there, right?
Yeah. Here's the complete roster from our friend Jay Mercado. Romualdo Cabading, Edward Camus, Anthony Nasalia, Roy Deles, Romeo Frank, Rudy Heinz, Rudolph Kutch, Limeng Beng, Renato Etok Lobo, Alfonso Mora, Jimmy Noblezada, and Ricardo Pineda.
I just heard Anthony Nasalia just passed away.
Yeah, he did. Maybe a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Even Ricky Pineda.
He was in the U.S.
Oh, he was here? Okay.
Yeah, Anthony Nasalia passed away in the
Ricky
U.S.
Pineda also?
Yeah, Ricky Pineda. He had a car accident.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you try to keep up with as much as you can, but time flies by so fast.
Yeah, well, that's the purpose of this show. That's the purpose of this show, actually. Now you start to get the names like Cabading, Noblezada. Now you're going to try to look for these guys now, right?
That's the truth, too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if some of them right down here in Southern California, because they have the Filipino leagues and stuff.
Yeah.
They still do a lot of playing. Yeah.
Let's talk about that guy. Let's talk about that guy in the white T-shirt beside Snake Jones. Isn't that the coach? That's Coach Tommy Manotoc. So you like playing for guys? You like playing for guys named Tommy, right? Yeah, Tommy Heinz, and now you have Tommy Manotoc.
That's good. I like that.
At that time, Coach, Tommy Manotoc was a young, dynamic kind of guy. He was just up and coming in the coaching ranks. What was your impression of this young coach?
that he knew what he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, honestly, you know, I never knew if he really played basketball or anything like that. But when I listened to him, you know, just talk strategy, talk, you know, the intricacies of winning and losing, you know, those type of things. I could see that why he was where he was on the golf course, you know, because he was one of the better golfers over there and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see he understood what it takes to be a winner. And so it really, to me, didn't really matter so much about if he really played the game. Because I know a whole lot of people have never played basketball, but they understand the game and could coach anybody, you know, because they just study it. And that's what he was. I think he was just a student of wanting to be a coach and what he could do if he had the right kind of players and get them to understand, you know, the group dynamics. And I think that's what he did very, very, very well, to let all of us understand that it takes a team to win. It's not about, you know, Glenn scoring 30 or Snake Jones scoring 30. You know, it's a team. And if we don't get the team to play together, that was something he really emphasized. If the team doesn't play together, we're not going to win. And that's what, you know, and they understood that, and they worked hard at playing as a unit. So, you know, it was just that certain critical situations, you know, they would usually go to the import. But I know some of the guys, like I know Lemon Bang, he was like, I can tell you, I don't have to go to the import. I can do this on my own.
Right.
That was his attitude.
Yeah, he was special.
So, yes, very, very special, you know. So, and then Obasada, if you give him the opportunity, you know, Jimmy was a very awkward player. You know, the way
his shot was like from here, right?
Yeah, and then he coming to the basket, the way he'd flare his legs and stuff, you know, you think he's going to hurt you himself.
But he was strong.
He was extremely strong, you know. So, but Tommy had good relationship with the players, you know, away from just on the court, and I think that was very important as well. But the guys, they all respected Tommy, you know, and then when you can get that, then you can definitely, you know, manage some stuff when you're trying to talk to them, because they you know they're listening.
Yeah. Well, Bang passed away also a couple of years ago as well. So. Bang, Ricky Pineda, and Tony DeSalia are all probably watching this interview right now from up above.
Love you guys. Love you.
Yeah. So you win this championship. You're the first team not named Crispa and Toyota to win a championship in the PBA. When you broke that streak, yeah, and it was a sweep too. It was a sweep, which made it even sweeter for you guys. What were the reactions after you accomplished what seemed to be something that was impossible?
Well, especially for the local players, you know, I just saw that it was devastating for them. You know, just the fact, you know, the 3-0 was there. It was a situation that we finally did it. Someone finally, you know, knocked them off, knocked one of the teams off. You know, with me, it was exciting for me because just the fact that I won an NBA championship, and I understood that, but my contribution in the Philippines for that championship was much more, to me, more important. You know, and so it was like this was pretty much my team, and you know, if I didn't do what I needed to do, then we weren't going to win. Where the NBA championship, if I didn't do what I did or whatever, it might not have cost us a championship. You know, we could have pulled it off. But, you know, that was important to me, you know, just the fact that, you know, I was the main culprit myself and Snake, you know, to get that championship.
You came in an era, Coach, when the imports were giants. Lots of guys much bigger than you, because you were only just 6'5", as you said. Yep. How were you able to compete with all these big guys? How did you find those matchups, and how were you able to be effective against all these big guys?
I think basically just because I played against them all the time in the States. You know, so it really wasn't anything different. You know, the different part was like this picture you have when playing against somebody like Jaworski. You know, he's coming at you, you know, and he's strong. He's not going to give you anything easy, you know. And so, even though you're bigger and you try to post him up, you know, he's not going to allow you to do those things. And so, those are the kind of people that, you know, it was difficult to play against sometimes. You know, when I go against the other Americans, you know, and a lot of the other Americans at the same time weren't going to play really, really hard because all they're thinking about doing is scoring. You know, they're just going to.
Mhm.
So the defense is like, well, you can score and I'll score. No, I don't. But I don't play like that. I'm gonna try to play both ends. But so it wasn't that big of a deal playing against the other Americans at all. You know, you have some of the bigger guys. You know, like Larry McNeil. You know, and Dean Colson, and you know, Cyrus Mann. And,
Cyrus Mann, yeah.
You know, those guys. You know, you got even Andy Fields. You know, all those guys are big guys, but I didn't really have Snake would have to kind of deal with those more than I did. Or Aaron James would have to deal with them more than I did. So it wasn't that big of an issue. But then as time went, the Filipinos started getting bigger. so I mean, you know, now you have a challenge because they're coming at you because they're going to show that, hey, I belong on this court just as much as you do. So.
Did that guy in the middle in this photo, did he ever give you a karate chop on one of your forearms?
He probably gave me karate chops so many different places. I can guarantee that. There's no way. And if it wasn't him giving the karate chop, it was Tito Varela. Tito would be here.
Well, he is a karate guy.
Yeah.
Last time I came over there, he was refereeing.
Yeah. He did for a few years.
I think you were last year in 1991, if I'm not mistaken. Was that right?
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, it has.
Oh no, sorry, 1997. 1997. The last time
One of your former teammates also became a referee, Rudy Heinz.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, really?
Yeah, Rudy did.
Oh,
Rudy
wow.
Heinz
Rudy Heinz was in the middle of one of the most controversial games in the history of the league. He was the referee on that when Añejo walked out, or one of the teams walked out of a championship. Rudy Heinz was one of the referees in that game.
Yeah, they walked out of a championship game.
Just before halftime. They were
Yeah. That was Jaworski's team. That walked out of a championship.
He was the playing coach, 1990.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well,
Rudy Heinz was the referee.
Who called that controversial foul on one of the players, and the players got. It was Rudy who called
who called the foul? Kyle?
Rudy teed someone up.
Rudy.
No. Yeah, that was Rudy Heinz. Kanding was already, I think, he was gone by then. I know. Was he one of your favorite referees, Kanding?
Kanding passed away a couple of years ago too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's gone as well.
He was amazing.
Yeah, he would be the trail referee on both sides of the court.
He was a character. He was a character.
He was definitely the trail ref. I no joke.
For both sides too.
Was he the former policeman?
Oh, nice man though. Really nice guy. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so Rudy got a lot of flack for that. He actually got death threats after that game when Jaworski's team walked out of a championship. But he's okay now. I mean, he's doing well. He's one of our neighbors here in where we stay, so he's doing well. Yeah.
That's
so
that's pretty serious though.
The player hit him on the back of the head. The player he called a technical on hit him on the back of the head. The tensions were that high, so that
ejected him, and then their import got 5 fouls in the first half. I mean, it was a mess. Really, that was 1991. Yeah. 1990. Yeah, you're right, Sid. Sorry about that. Look at this: Jaworski, Toyota, and UTEX. Now, you guys, Glenn, figured in what must have been, if you had that triple overtime game against the Phoenix Suns, you were down 4 against Toyota with 16 seconds left in the 1980 Open Conference Championship. Take us back to that one.
Can we see the photo of taking the free throws?
Yeah, let's see that. Let's see that photo. Yeah, I think he's got you were down 4.
No, the other one.
The other one.
We were down 4.
You were down. Yeah, you were down 4. 16 seconds left in the game against Toyota, and they were supposed to win the championship already. This was it. So we had some of your teammates here as our guests. We had Fritz Gaston over here. We actually had some Toyota guys, Francis Arnaiz, Abi King, talking about this game. So let's get it from the guy who actually set the game to overtime, Glenn McDonald. What happened in the final 16 seconds of this game?
You know something. You asked me if I remember. That's the one thing I don't remember.
Really? Okay.
Are you serious?
No. Honestly, I remember stealing the ball. Okay, I remember that. But the 16 seconds, we're down 4. I don't remember who scored to put us down 2.
Aaron James scored.
Okay, see,
Yeah,
that's how I
Aaron
was forget that. I was like, but then Tommy wanted us to overplay. I remember we got in the huddle, the game's not over yet, and then you come out, we score. Then we go back in, and all of a sudden Tommy's like, all we got to do is play defense. Don't give up. We got to make sure we get help. And so Torres, I think it was Torres took the ball out.
Yeah, he did.
Right.
Yeah. And I was reading him because what I did, I remember I kind of shifted off, I think it was Arnaiz, and I kind of went to the middle. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I told myself, I'm going to steal this pass. I know they're going to throw it here. I got to steal this pass. And right when I said that, I saw the ball coming, and I just lunged. I was like, I got to go get this thing, And so then we go down, and I was hoping I could get to the basket, and get fouled and score. But the fact was, he got me, put me to the line, which is a good, what anybody should have done. And fortunately, I made both free throws and then fouled out in overtime.
Yeah, but Adornado lifted you in overtime.
Pardon me?
Adornado lifted you in overtime.
Yeah, now he took over. Which he took over quite a few different games. So, but because I always keep trying to think. I think about that game a lot. I always like, well, who was it that scored to put us down 2? And I always think it was Boggs, but it was Aaron. So
yeah,
but I don't know. I've just been, like I said, I've been really blessed in regards to the basketball teams, and even when I was with the Sparks, we won back-to-back championships. I was just like, I've just been fortunate, and I don't know. I try to put the work in. That's one thing for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to just come to you. So, but that game was that game was amazing. Down 4 with 16 seconds.
Yeah, and Andy Fields cannot forget it until this day. It really haunts him until now. He told us about it a few weeks ago. Although he was able to get some sort of payback the year after, but it wasn't against you guys.
Yeah.
But it really still haunts him. The worst game ever in his life, he said.
Yeah, he said it was the worst loss.
That's what he called it.
Man. Well, I'm glad it was on that. It wasn't on my side.
It was pretty sweet for you, Coach.
Ramon Diaz just said he was 11. Ramon Diaz just said he was 11 when he watched that game, and it still haunts him to this day. Actually, it haunts me and Sid because we were Toyota fans.
We were Toyota fans, actually. I cried that night. Yeah.
I was a kid then too.
Andy also recalls because he was trailing when after you made that steal. I think it was Francis Arnaiz who fouled you.
Yes.
To send you to the line. It was Francis. But Andy recalls yelling to Francis, "Don't foul him. I've got this," because he said he was gonna go up and block your shot, but Francis didn't hear him, and he had to commit the foul to prevent you from laying it up. But that was Andy's one big regret. He said he was ready to block your shot if Francis hadn't fouled you. I don't know if that would have happened.
But we actually saw the video. Fields was pretty close. Fields was pretty close already.
Yeah. But I see Coach Glenn shaking his head. No way he's gonna block my shot, right?
I'll tell you what. If I felt he was gonna try, I never really dunked, but I would have dunked that one. If I had thought he was coming at it, I would have dunked that. It's like I always tell my players, when you go into the hole, go for the dunk. Go for the dunk. If it looks like they're gonna go after you, go for the dunk because you're gonna end up on the free throw line no matter what. Because they're gonna foul you. The majority of the time you're gonna get fouled when you're trying to block somebody's dunk. So I still would have ended up dunking it, or I would have been on that free throw line with Andy having 2 fouls. With shooting 2 more free throws. No, but Andy. He would have been somebody that definitely could have probably done it though, because he had great timing. Jumped very well, strong.
You played, coach, from 78 to 83 in the Philippines. Who were the best imports aside from yourself, in your opinion? Who were the guys who really impressed you?
Oh God. From when I was playing. Whew. Well, I never played against Norman, so I'm trying to think who.
Lots of great
Larry
guys. Your
McNeil.
Snake was there. Yeah,
Blue
Larry.
Sky King,
Cyrus,
Larry
Bruce
McNeil.
Sky
Larry
King,
McNeil, yeah.
Larry McNeil, Larry Pounds.
Larry Pound,
This is
sure. Then we
Lou
had,
Massey.
that's the one I was going to tell you. That he was unbelievable. You know, for his size, what he could do. You know, I mean, because he was overweight. You know, and he just knew how to maneuver with his body. He could score. He could score against anybody. You know, Sky King. You know, I was never really a big fan of his game. You know, because I think it's just that he has so many. He didn't have to really put out as much. He has so many local players that could play. You know, with Jaworski, with Fernandez, with Arnaiz. You know, and they kind of carried everything, and then Andy would do what he was supposed to do. You know, I mean, Sky King would do what he's supposed to do, but he just never. I was never impressed with him really. And then David Payne was another one that was I thought was a very good player, but he wasn't on a very good team, but he was a good, good import.
Right.
You know, so but Lou Massey, he was the one that really, for me, you know, that I just always felt he could just go. You know, he could just turn it on, turn it off when he wanted to. And then Lewis Brown, he was okay, but he had too many mental problems. You know, there was always something on his mind. You know, so. But I know as time went, you know, when we had a really good player with James Robinson, you know, but that was when I was coaching. There you go. You know, so you start getting, they start getting more advanced, you know, the players, you know, then you guys ended up with Crazy Superman, you know, so what was his name? Billy Ray Bates. You know, so, you know, you start getting more agile players and stuff. But this guy right here, see, he was like a local. He was like an import himself to me. I'm telling you, he could take over a game anytime he wanted to. Fernandez, I loved his game. You know, I hated to guard him. He was just he was smart. You know, he didn't overdo anything. He just kind of pinpointed where he wanted to go, what he was going to do, and so we used to have really good battles. But I had the utmost respect for him as a basketball player. You know, so it's like I said, there are a lot of good players, but there wasn't anybody that overwhelmed me. Just put it that way in regards to the different players. Even within myself, I wasn't like the monster. Everybody hates to play against Glenn McDonald. I don't think any other imports really felt that way about me. Hopefully after I was finished with them, they were thinking about it. So.
No, I have a question about not particularly this photo, but what you were teammates actually with Ramon Fernandez for one game. You guys went up against the Washington Bullets when they came over in 1979. I did an article about that the other day. I was looking for somebody to talk to who remembered that game. You were teammates with 5 imports there. You got Cyrus Mann, yourself. I think it was Larry Pounds, Larry McNeil, and Dean Tolson. Dean Tolson was also in that game. Then you had a bunch of locals, Rene Canen, Mon Fernandez, Atoyko was also on that team. Do you have any recollection of going up against the Washington Bullets in that 1979 game?
I don't, honestly. I hate to say that, but I really don't. I've thought about that game before, and I've always said, who was on that team? I don't really remember. I remember when they came over and everything, but I just don't remember us playing against them, And at first I thought I was coaching the team. Then somebody said, no, you
maybe coaching them.
That's the Lupan coach.
Pardon me?
The Lupan,
maybe the Lupan was the coach.
Yeah, no, I remember that much afterwards, but I don't remember the game. I just something about that game I don't remember at all.
Nobody remembers the game. Yeah, I talked to Manny Paner. I talked to Atoyko. Nobody remembers the game, actually.
Oh, well, at least good. At least I'm not the only one.
But that was the Washington Bullets. At least the Filipino players should have remembered it. My gosh, it's strange that no one does.
Sure I'm sure Elvin Hayes set a pick on you or something like that. You would have remembered that.
He probably did. I swear, I do not remember that game. I just remember when they came over, and I remember that they played against a local team, but I don't remember. I don't remember playing. I honestly don't.
Yeah, the guy who had memories about that game was actually Rene Canet, of all people. He actually remembers that you were his teammate on that game.
That's crazy. That's insane. Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one that doesn't remember it all.
Ato said had no recollection playing in that game at all,
and that was the game, actually, Glenn, just to let you know that he and Bill Corzine almost got into it. When you guys were down 33.
Yeah,
him and Bill Corzine, Dave Corzine, rather, almost got into it.
Hey, check out this photo, Coach. This is Tommy talking to you, Lim, Snake, and Etok.
That's a nice photo.
Yeah.
Look how young Tommy Manotok is there.
I know. Tommy, he still looks good. You know, Tommy's into all that health food and everything. You know?
Yeah. But Coach, there's a guy who's not in this photo, and you did mention him a while ago. You played against him, I think, when you were new here in the Philippines. And in 1980, he joined your team, number 33, Boggs Adornado. And so tell everyone what your impression was of this guy who just shot the lights out.
That he was one of the coolest players I've ever seen. I mean, he was so under control, so calm, you know, and
there he is.
He just pinpoint what he wants to do. He sets you up the way he wants to do it before he takes a shot. You know, he was never in a rush, and he just, when he came to join our team, it was like heaven, honestly, because I'd heard about him. I hadn't really seen him, you know, really play a lot. But then he came, and at that time, I think when he first came, he came from an injury, I think.
That's right. That's right.
You know? And then I started watching him in practice, and I was like, God, this guy don't miss. You know, and he reminded me of Oscar Robertson, because he just took his time. You know, he set the defense up, and then he just pull up, take the little shot. He pull up, shoot a little fade jump. You know, he gets you in the air because you have to respect it. You have to respect him. So he knew how to fake and get people in the air because they're going to go for it most of the time because it's ball. They know he's going to go for the shot. And, you know, he was just very, very, very smart player. Very smart player. I loved playing with him. I was glad he came, you know, so he could help do some damage. So and it paid off for us to get him.
Everyone bit into his pump fake. Everyone.
Oh, they did. Yeah. Everybody.
That's so hard to avoid.
And when he joined you, he was already a 2-time MVP, and he did win another one the year after. So 3-time MVP.
And he deserved it. You know, the guy could just straight out play, and he understood the game. See, he wasn't just he was a scorer. He understood how to play the game of basketball. You know, even if people talk about he didn't play defense. When he was playing with me, Boggs played defense. You know, we talk about it all the time. Boggs, you know, just give us that little effort. We don't need to just give us the effort. You know, and so he could lock people down when he wanted to really do it. And I think he enjoyed being with this team and playing with the people he was playing with him and you know, and Lim and Bang, and you know, he enjoyed playing with everybody, and so he would work on both ends of the floor. But
and then you also brought in, you also got a guy by the name of Fritz Gaston, who was ahead of his time. He was a big guard.
Yeah, big guard, fast, aggressive, energetic. It's crazy. It's really energetic.
Oh yeah. The energy is still there until now. He could have talked to us for hours when he was guesting on our show.
And he was another one. He studied the game. He was a student of basketball. You know, I mean, he understood how to play. He understood situations. You know, if he was coaching, he would be able to change. You know, he could adapt to what's going on, adjust to situations. You know, so Chris was just energetic, and he just loved the game. He loved the game. When he first came, I don't know, that first year he came, but he was wild. I was like, whoa, calm down, young man. Calm down.
He came in 1979, yeah.
Yeah, but we became friends. You know, we we really became friends, and and he took that and ran with it. He just like, hey, I'm with you. Let's win. Let's do what we can to win. And so I appreciated him, because you don't find it, at that time, you don't know, how much a person really loves the game, and he had a passion for the game, and so you can definitely see it.
One of your former teammates is watching right now.
Who is it?
Sorry, Noel. Yeah, Hill Cortez.
Oh, Hill Cortez. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you wind up being the coach of the team, Glenn?
Yeah, exactly. How did that come about?
Because remember, after we won the first championship with Crispa, then we came back and beat Toyota, and then that's when Tommy resigned after we won against Toyota. So Walter was young and wanted to know if I was interested in coaching, and I wanted to coach when I came back to the States, and so he wanted me to be a player coach and play. So I'm like, okay, let's try it. We'll try that. And I don't even remember how well we did, if we did well. I don't really remember. All I remember is at the end of the season, I told him, what do you want me to do, coach or play? Because this is crazy. It's too crazy dealing with your your teammates, and these are your teammates, and all of a sudden now you got to tell them what to do, why you don't, that type of stuff. It was too much.
Yeah.
It was really too much. And as much as you don't try to hurt anybody's feelings, they're your friends, and you have to tell them when they're wrong and when they're not doing what I'm asking them to do. This is not. It's not a diplomacy. It's like, I want you to do this. You can't say, well, why don't I do it this way? No, do it the way I want you to do. And these are my friends. So it was tough. And so then the next year, I asked Walter, what do you want me to do? And he said, well, what do you want to do? What would you rather do? I said, something, I'd rather coach, because I want to coach when I get back to the United States. I said, so I might as well start over here, and that's how that whole thing came about.
Yeah, the photo that's showing right now. There's an article that's written about your appointment. You were actually the first foreign coach in the PBA to be appointed, and it naturally it was met with some resistance from some sectors, because at that time some teams had just folded, and a lot of coaches were out of jobs, and people were questioning why didn't UTEX just get one of the local coaches who lost their jobs. How did you handle that situation?
I didn't pay attention to it. Being honest, that's just how I am. There's really nothing I could have done, because this decision was made. And I understood at that time too that they could have picked up somebody else. But I think I looked at it, the fact that I had a good relationship with the players. And Walter wanted someone that could relate to them right away, and so I think that's one of the big reasons why, I was able to just say. He was able to say, I'm going to make Glenn just a coach and leave it as that. And after that, I knew that there was resentment, but there was nothing I could really do about it. So all I could do was just go in there and hopefully try to win some games where they really. Because if I went in there and we just got destroyed, then there would be big problems, And but I was never one that's. I never really read a lot of articles, and to see, just like even when I was a player, what do they say about me? What do they say about? So I don't really never did that type of stuff. So a lot of things would be said that I had no clue was being said unless someone came and told me.
Coach, did you ever get into any arguments with your former teammates when you became their coach? Were there any run-ins?
Yeah, I had run-ins with Bang, them and Bang. I had run-ins with Fritz at times. Noble Sada. I'd had thing because he thought he should be playing more than he was playing. So there was definitely gonna be run-ins. But the thing that I always felt was that they still respected me, and because I tried to tell them the truth as much as possible, and then we try to work around that and then keep going from there. Even with the new players, when I bring in, Balls, I never had a problem with, but Dallas, he thought he should be playing more. So it was just one of those kind of things.
Yeah. Everybody wants to play more, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
That's why.
But then when you were coaching, then you needed an import. You went to your alma mater, Long Beach State, and you brought in, lo and behold, Francois Wise.
Yeah, well, first I brought in John Kazmer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll remember you if you remember that, and because John was a much better player than what he showed when he came to the Philippines. But I couldn't afford to keep him over there. It was like, you're not helping me. And he was one of my best friends. He was in my wedding, everything, But it's all about business, So, I'm not gonna make myself look bad just to give my friend a job. I couldn't afford to do that. And then Francois came, and I was like, I'm bringing Francois in, and I'm gonna just turn him loose because I knew what he could do as a player, but in college they used him only on the post. But I knew just from playing pickup with him and things like that, going to the gym, and that he can handle the ball, he can shoot the jump shot, So he a great passer. So when he came over to the Philippines, I just said, hey, look, I'm turning you loose. I want you to play the way we play when you go to the gym, when we go to the playground, And so and he had 4 years I think he stayed over there.
Yeah.
So and he did really, really well, and I was blessed to get him to come over there, So
Well, you have something in common with him. Is this really Rene Canet now doing a comment?
Yeah.
Rene Canet. Yeah. Glenn was one of the best imports I ever played against. Very heady player with the best bag shot. Very, very smart player. That's from one of the greats, Rene Canet, on you, Glenn McDonald.
That's awesome.
So they do remember you. They remember you. They remember you more than they remember the Washington Bullets. Imagine that.
Yeah. Okay. and they were the champions.
Yeah, they were.
Exactly.
No, but I was about to say, you and Francois have something in common. You both have children that were born in the Philippines. That's how dedicated you were being part of the Philippine basketball culture.
I know, and I was trying to get my son to come over there and play. Like Francois' son's over there now, isn't he?
No, he played a few years ago,
here
2015, 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was, my son, he was thinking about, I was going to try to get him over there. And then, he ended up getting involved with, he sells medical devices, which is good also. Because he had an opportunity to go when he played at Stanford, and then he got a chance to get a little trial with the Golden State, and so, but that didn't really work out. So he was getting ready to go to Greece and play on Greece. And then, he had an opportunity to go to Greece, and then he's saying, well, Dad, why don't you look into the Philippines? So I said, oh, okay, maybe I'll do that. But then Stanford stepped in and told him that if he wanted to get his master's degree, that they'd pay for it. And he's like, oh, hell, I'm going to get my master's. He says, Dad, I said, don't dad me. This is your life, man. You don't have to play just because I played. And so he ended up getting this, because he said, if I go overseas and play, I'm just going to use that money to get my master's. But this way, I said, well, this way you don't have to worry about that, So he got his master's, and then he's just been working, so doing real well. But yeah, Francois' son, he was a good player, really solid.
Yeah. That's right.
Eric. Didn't his daughter come over there and play?
Yes.
Yeah, his daughter Bonita, the one who was born there, actually played volleyball for the Philippine Super League here as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's how we got in touch with Francois, actually.
My daughter played, she was born there, and then she played volleyball.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she played volleyball at UW, University of Washington. So,
well,
all right.
So after your PBA stint, even during when you were coaching already, did you have plans of thinking, hey, you know what, Philippines is a pretty cool place. Why don't I just bring my family here and settle in? Did that ever cross your mind?
Something. Not really. The reason, I think because of my family and and the close ties we had with my family and with my wife's family. One thing we looked at was that we never really looked to see about the international schools over in the Philippines. If we had really looked into that, we might have stayed longer. Because the schools are great. And all we were thinking about was we're going to go back so my son can start kindergarten in the States, and so that was a big mistake on our part in that sense, because I think that he was getting more out of, even though we had the yayas and all that kind of stuff, we really were raising our kid, and but we wanted him to start school in the States, and that's what that's why we ended up coming back. It wasn't anything about the job or thing. And well, and I won't say that because I was ready to Sunkiss. That wasn't a real good time with them. That ownership, with that ownership and stuff. So I was probably going to get out of there anyway. Just because of that group.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to ask you about that. Yeah, aside from after UTEX, you had that brief stint with the Sunkist team, both as an import and as a coach. So apparently, it wasn't a very good experience for you.
No, not really. It just didn't seem like he I can't remember Danny. I think it was the owner of the team. I forgot his name. I can't remember his name, but he just wasn't serious. He just wanted the team so he could say he had a team, but he didn't really care. And I was like, I don't want to get involved with anything like that.
Yeah, it was a strange year, Coach, actually, because that team went from being the Manhattan team to the Sunkist team, then it became the Winston team, all in 1 year, and it was strange. Like the ownership changed somewhere along the way. But how did you get that job anyway?
Because I was getting ready to leave. I was getting ready to, Sunkist had, UTEX had said they were disbanding, and so right before I got ready to leave, they contacted me. Sunkist contacted me and said that they're looking for a coach, and would I be interested in staying around and being involved. And at that point, I think I was supposed to be a player again. I think I played 2 or 3 games.
2 games.
Okay.
2.
Yeah, it wasn't a long stint, and and then it's so bad I don't remember the players. I don't remember who I had on the team. That's how bad it is, honestly.
Yeah.
So
but it turns out that you were the first playing coach actually in the PBA because of those 2 games. You're the first because everybody talks about Sonny Jaworski as a playing coach and everything, but
Norman Black also.
Yeah. I was the first playing coach when I played with Utah. When I was with UTEX, I was a coach and player.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So, that's right.
Yeah. Couple of times.
Yeah. So, but that stint there wasn't happening. And I didn't really feel it. It was just kind of The experiences with that ownership was like, okay. Even my wife was like, so I think this must be a sign that it's time for us to go.
Yeah. It was the time. It was the time.
Yeah.
When you were coach, if you're the coach now of UTEX in 1981, if you had the choice to choose 3 players from any of the other teams that you could get on UTEX, who would they have been?
Probably Fernandez would be one. Atoy Cole would be another one. And then probably just because of the size, because we had good guards, so I'd go with a
Goodabin.
Yeah, those 3.
All right.
3
That's a pretty expensive acquisition.
I'd have to talk to the management.
Right.
I have to talk to the league.
I have to convince them that we can win the championships. We could be Toyota.
Oh, you win. You definitely win. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, you had Bugs, and then you get those 3. You're done.
Exactly.
You're made.
Yeah.
We asked that same question to Norman Black. Actually, he also mentioned Atoy Ko. As someone he would have wanted to play with.
Yeah.
You played against Atoy Ko. What was special about his game that stood out for you?
First of all, he was fearless. That was one of the big things. And then he was awkward. He had an awkward shot that he could pull up from anywhere, off the dribble, just pull up and stop and just pull, because he could stop on a dime. So he was not a lot of players could do that during that time. And then he had that will, and you can see it in his face that he believed any shot he shot was going to go up because he was just unorthodox the way he put certain shots he had put up. So I used to love going going to the games if we didn't play and just watching him play. He was really a special player. He really was a special player. The person that's really a really good player that people sometimes I feel that he didn't get enough credit was Cesar.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah. I was
yeah.
about.
That's right.
Because
I think I was about to ask a question. Yeah, I was about to ask a question in that regard. Among the locals you faced in the PBA, who defended you the best?
he was one. He was one for sure. And then like you said before, our friend the referee Tito. I used to have
Tito
hell.
Varela.
Oh my, because he
Oh,
did
yeah.
not care. He would be all underneath you. He did not care. And then he'd kill you. He'd swat you or whatever. And then he'd go, "Sorry, Glenn." And I was like, "No, you're not."
Yeah, but he played for you. He played for you for a bit, right, Glenn?
Yeah,
he
he
played.
did,
He
yeah.
played on your team. Yeah.
Yeah. But he said, "Sorry, Glenn." I said, "No, you're not. You knew just what you were doing."
Going back to Philip Cesar, what made him a special player?
Because he was. I think he was really one of the most patient players I've ever seen. He very rarely. I mean, of course, all of us rush things at times, certain times in games, but he really was always under control. He just understood how to play. He knew about spacing. You could see that. He was always moving. He was one of those kind of players that didn't just stand around. He was always on the go, so you had to always be aware of what he was doing. He was just a special kind of player, and I just felt that. I'd hear so much about so many other players, and I'd say they keep forgetting about Cesar. Even when we do scouting,
right.
even when we do scouting reports, they talk about other players. I'm like, yeah, well, I know who I'm thinking about.
Yeah. No, but just to add to that, Coach, we had Philip Cesar a couple of weeks ago on the show, and the viewership was an all-time high when he was on the show.
That's
So
good.
just goes to show you he's appreciated now by everybody.
That's he deserves that too. That's good. Yep.
So after your stint,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Go
Charlie?
ahead, Noel. Go.
No. I was just saying, after your stint in the PBA, you went back to the States, and did you get back into basketball for a bit, or did you find a new direction?
No.
Oh, what happened?
He'll be back. There you go.
Are you good? You okay, Glenn?
There you are, Coach.
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay.
Yeah. So my question was, after you left the Philippines, go ahead.
No, when I got back, I got right into. Well, first of all, I had to come back and get my degree. Okay, so I still had like 3 classes I had to take. So I came back, got back in school, and then I was involved with working at a gym. I was just working at open up a park and rec where they just play basketball. I just opened a gym for them and stuff, and then I got involved with the men's basketball program as a part-time assistant because I couldn't be hired on as a full-time assistant because I didn't have a degree. So in the meantime, I was working with the basketball team here at the university, and then working part-time, and then working another job, so I was just working, doing whatever I had to do, and so then finally I kept going. I said, something, I'm gonna have to get a regular job, a real job, because I did this for 2 years with the men's basketball program before they could really hire me. And I was just, everything I had made overseas and everything else, that money's constantly coming out your pocket. You don't have anything putting back in the pocket. So I finally let them know I was getting ready to quit with them, with the men's program. And then the women's coach, because I was involved with, with the men's program, the women's coach, she saw how I was with her players, always talking to her players and telling them different stories and things like that. She was losing one of her full-time assistants, and I just got my degree. And so she asked me, would I be interested in coaching on the women's side? And that's when I said, hey, it doesn't matter if it's monkeys, as long as it's basketball, I can coach it, And so that's what, so they hired me on the women's side.
That's funny.
That's how I got it. Yep. So
we just got a comment here. It flashed on the screen just a bit. Thank you for the compliments, Glenn. You were my coach during my MVP season. And the same person is saying he's watching right now, and he just wants to say Glenn is a great player. We're talking about Bogs Adornado. He's watching the show right now with his son Joma. There you go.
Bugs, I love it.
And Bugs, and Joma, please tell your dad. Joma, tell your dad. We'd love to have him on the show. So
Yes.
if he's open to coming on, Glenn's been on, Rich Gaston has been on, Stevie Watson has been on. It's time Bugs Adornado comes on an Eternity of Basketball. Just wanted to put that in there, okay?
That's right, Bugs. You'll be with some.
Yeah, we're gonna get all the UTEX guys. Yeah.
I love it, Bugs.
Please tell your dad.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, he actually, yes, he heard you're on, and then he's happy to be watching. I suppose one of his former coaches and imports, but Coach, a lot of the imports we talked to in the past, we've talked to Norman Black, we talked to Francois Weiss, Andy Fields. They talked about the imports enjoying the nightlife in the Philippines and going out to the discos and the bars. Did you engage in that? Were you doing that as well? I mean, it's of course it's nothing bad. Everybody has an opportunity, of course.
The party
has the right to have fun.
No. It wasn't anything bad. I have my wife with me, so we go together.
Right. Because there were some imports privileged to go out at night. Some of them, I'm sure.
It was funny. We used to go to I'm trying to think of the name of the disco we used to go to.
Stargazer.
Stargazer.
It's the only place to go.
I like your smile when you heard Stargazer, Coach.
That was the place. Stargazer. We go there.
Lots of movies, I'm sure.
My wife really didn't like Stargazer. We always talk. Even to this day, we talk about. She goes, "You used to give me money and send me to the floating casino."
Oh yeah,
that's right.
And then I was there. And then I would come back and I'd be dancing or whatever, and she'd be standing there, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" She says, "I lost my money." So I give her some more money, and says, "You go back."
Well, just to interject right now, Joma Adornado, is saying now that the dad would like to come on, and great show, by the way. So Bugs Adornado, thanks to you, Glenn. Bugs Adornado is committed to be a guest on the show.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
great. That's perfect.
That's great.
But no, it was. We used to have fun. We go to those, go to the disco, and we used to have fun. Sometimes, we would just all go together. You get all the because something that was the good thing about the PBA, because it was in one city, and so all the imports were able to get to know each other and get to hang out with each other, and that was really, really special, because I know when I was in Sweden. I was in Stockholm, and then another American was like 200 miles away. I mean, you might be in the same conference, but you don't see each other until games. Where in the Philippines, you can always do things together, meet up at the hotels, by the swimming pools, or
right.
Just enjoy yourself. Get a chance to know some people. So and then you go to battle, on the weekend or whatever the games, you go to battle, and after that, hey, where are we gonna go tonight after the game? So. It was good. It was fun, but we did hang out at those discos. So
a lot of our
besides everybody's a Stargazer fan among the guys at least who played in your generation.
Well, that's when Bon used to be as a Stargazer all the time.
That's true.
Yeah, he used to be there all the time, getting in trouble. So
that was a place to be. That was a place to be.
He's a senator now. No, Glenn. But besides the Stargazer, where did you guys like to go for lunch and stuff like that? I mean, do you have a favorite restaurant in the Philippines that you still remember until today?
Not really. We used to hang out. I know we used to go to the Peninsula a lot. We used to go over to Peninsula Hotel and go swimming. Because we lived in Marikina. So
that's quite a drive. That's quite a drive from Marikina to Makati.
We lived in the compound, the UTEX, Universal Textile Mills, the compound out there. I don't know if it's still there or what, but that's where we were. So we were away from everybody. So we had to go into town, and it would take a little while, especially going down. It's EDSA. Oh, I mean, that was ridiculous.
EDSA.
That was crazy.
It's still ridiculous.
So it's worse now.
Yeah,
really.
It's even more ridiculous now.
And I used to drive myself. We had a driver, but I got tired of the driver knowing every place I'm going. You know, I'm like, so I started driving some myself. I said, stay home. You know, we're gonna take the car. No, I'm gonna drive. No, that's okay. We're all right. You know, my wife and I, we're gonna go on our own. You know, so but that was, man, that was crazy getting around that place but it was fun. You know, but we really didn't get out a lot. We went to. I'm trying to think a little. You know, can we get? Just mainly we just would go into town and just find some place to go, and then we always went downtown, you know, in Makati to, you know, buy material, you know, to get some pants made, some shirts made, and, you know, that type of stuff. But never been a one to really go crazy running around, because even now, you know, I've always been still just like a homebody. My wife likes to cook, so we don't go out to too many restaurants every now and then, because, you know, she's like, I can make that. I'm like, okay. Why pay?
How about Filipino food, Coach? Do you remember anything that you like to eat?
I'm sure you do.
We have the lumpia. We have. I'm trying to think what else. Lechon. Damn, what else?
How about adobo?
Yeah, no.
Not adobo.
I mean, I have it. It's okay.
Okay.
No. What's it called with the egg? None of that. What's the they say delicacy with the egg, with the chicken in it?
Balut.
Balut. No
balut.
Balut. Yeah, no
balut for you. Yeah.
That's a duck egg.
I was gonna try it one day.
In recent years,
they peeled it back. Yeah, they do that. All the feathers and everything. I was like, oh no, that's okay. You know, so. But
yeah, that actually came out in Fear Factor, the old show. Yeah. It was one of the hosts. During one episode, it was part of the challenge. You have to eat balut. So
I can believe that on a Fear Factor show. I can believe they would do that. Yeah.
Here it's not. Here it's nothing. Everyone eats that.
I'm craving for it right now, actually. No, but when you were driving around, did you ever drive yourself out of the city? Did you ever drive yourself out of Metro Manila, go to places like Tagaytay, probably even drive yourself to the beach in Batangas, or make it all the way to Baguio? I mean, where are the exotic places that you've been to in the Philippines?
I've just been to really Baguio, been to Cebu, you know, was it Tagaytay? What is it?
Tagaytay.
Tagaytay, yeah.
You know, so we've been a few places, but nothing real. Never just really jumped out and went, you know, any place. We went to a couple places. I can't remember the names. There were a couple places where they had, you know, like the waterfalls, and then you know, it's like a rainforest. Then we get down to the end of the rainforest, and it's just a big opening, you know, where people can jump in the water and stuff like that. So I'm just not good at remembering names of places.
That's probably here, Hinulugan Taktak in Antipolo. That's probably where you went.
Or maybe somewhere in Laguna.
Yeah, or probably Laguna.
Oh yeah, it would be Laguna.
Yeah. Or Pagsanhan, or Villa.
A couple of hours away from Manila. Yeah. Hello. Charlie.
No, I just enjoy being there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, hello.
Yeah. Sorry. But what are the memories that you're going to take back from your stint in the Philippines? And you came back in 1997. That's been documented. You did watch Jaworski, the Gordon's Gin game where Jaworski won a championship. How many times have you been back in the Philippines since you left?
Oh God, we left in '83. We got back here maybe 5 times. '97 was when I came back for a wedding. I was my friend's this guy Rajan Sadwani. You know, I was his best man in his wedding, and so that's the last time I've been back there. And so he's pissed off because he's been here a couple times, and I put him in the favor and haven't been over there yet. So, but I don't know. The biggest thing for me, you know, is just how the people treated me when I was there. You know, everybody was really genuine. You know, you wonder sometimes, do they teach you that way because you're a player? You know, but then I got a chance to meet a lot of people, and it wasn't about me being a player. It was just about how I treated them and they treated me, or we received respect from each other, and I just always felt that way about the Filipino, the culture. Just every place you go, you're gonna have people that are ignorant people. You're gonna have people that are causing problems, but then at the same time, you can't judge everybody from that. And I judge people in the way I've been treated by different individuals, because I've always said, I treat people the way I would want people to treat me, and so that's what I got from the Philippines. So when I came over there and times I've been back, it's been great. There's been people. The last time I came back, I had a couple, interviews and stuff. Just to see, just like what you guys are doing now, just to see what is Glenn McDonald doing, now in his, later life or whatever, away from the Philippines, and it's been great. But I just enjoyed everybody over there. I had a great time, and that's why I was telling, I think I was telling Jay earlier that, or Charles, I was saying that I was gonna come to the Philippines. We were talking about it coming in January, February, and then all this stuff popped up. So now my friend's mad again. So
yeah.
So, but it was just great. It was great. I was glad I ended up going to the Philippines instead of going back over to Europe, and not worrying about the height of the Filipino players.
Yeah.
When you're watching the NBA now, Glenn, when you watch the NBA has restarted. Thankfully, good for them, right? But when you watch the NBA now, the modern game, who reminds you of Glenn McDonald when you see them on the court?
Whew. Wow. That's a pretty deep question right there. I never thought about that. I don't know.
Like when you see this guy, this guy sort of plays like me. You can mention names like Steph Curry, Trae Young. I mean, it's up to you.
No.
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 They're your height.
I'm being honest, I can't think of anybody offhand. I really can't.
We'll come up with something.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if it was Steph Curry.
Yeah. Don't we all wish, right, that we play like Steph Curry?
Everyone wants to play that way. Huh? Just take shots from 30 feet out.
Just go. Just going through the comments from the viewers right now, Glenn. They're really funny. Some of them said, before Ronald McDonald came to the Philippines, there was Glenn McDonald. So
that's true.
Yeah.
The two most popular McDonald's in the Philippines are Ronald McDonald and Glenn McDonald.
Oh,
so they really remember you. And then there's another one that said the last time I saw Glenn on TV was when his house had a makeover. I forgot the title of the TV show. Yeah. Would you remember that? Did it come out on HGTV?
Monster House. That's what it was called.
Okay.
Monster House. Okay. What year was this?
Whoa, that was 80. Wait. I'm trying to think. My daughter was still 2000. Must have been like 2002, right around there. Yeah.
Then there's another. There's a question here. Did Mr. McDonald ever eat in Jollibee? That's one of the questions here.
Actually, yes, for sure.
All right.
They actually
those are the competing.
Yeah, you should have had a picture, Glenn. You eating in Jollibee. I'm a McDonald eating in Jollibee.
If I go over, they have a Jollibee over here in Cerritos.
Right.
Yep. So if I ever go in there, I'm gonna send you a picture.
Right.
That's great. Yeah, we'll wait for that. Any more for the comments?
About your jersey. Yeah, about because one of our viewers noticed the jerseys behind you, and is wondering if you have a UTEX jersey, and if you don't, maybe someone could send over one of your old UTEX jerseys so that you could also put it up on the wall.
That'd be nice if someone could send something like that.
Okay, guys. Okay, followers, if you have a UTEX jersey, we're gonna send it to Glenn. Yep. We'll send it.
I'll definitely frame it if it comes.
Yeah,
there's a little update here from the game, though, very quickly. Marlo Rivera, one of our reviewers, is also a diehard Celtics fan, said the C's are up 91-57 against the Raptors right now.
Defending champs.
Okay.
Nothing.
Yeah, let's talk about more. Let's talk about more important things.
We need that kind of game right now because it's getting close. These 8 games are going to be over in a minute, and they need to get. They've been playing 2 up and down. So
I know. I agree.
Don't worry, Charlie. Charlie, your Lakers are the #1 team in the West. Don't worry about it.
They suck. Anyway, they're not the #1 team right now. Anyway, let's not talk about that. I just wanted to ask Coach.
Okay,
Coach, who were your closest buddies, your closest friends that you made when you were here in the Philippines, in the PBA, and who you're still in contact with until now?
Oh, you know something? Honestly, I was in contact with Bang and stuff before he passed away, and then, but really, I haven't contacted anybody. So I think I talked to Boggs one time. And the only person I really in contact with is Tommy. You know. Tommy, and then my friend Rajan, but as far as former players and stuff, not really. And then every now and then I might be able to get in touch with Norman Black, but that's basically it. You know, and Lobo is over here. They talk Lobo, he's over here, and so I talk to him briefly every now and then.
Yeah, he'll be coming on the show too soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because his wife's on Facebook, so she's always sending me messages and everything. So, I get a chance to know a little bit what they're doing. That's basically it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure if we hook you up with Fritz Gaston or Steve Watson, those guys are so active nowadays here. Yeah, Fritz and Steve.
I forgot about Steve.
He was a rookie in '82.
Yeah,
he was your rookie.
He was a very interesting guy.
He still is. He still is.
Okay.
He was a riot when we had him.
Yeah, you should watch our interview. I think it was last week. Yeah. It was one of the funniest interviews.
It was one of the funniest, Yeah, we opened the show. Charlie asked him, "What was the last time you wore a bandana?" And Steve said, "When he had hair." That's the kind of guy he still is.
He used to wear that bandana all the time. I used to think.
No, that's right. That's why he's known as the bandana kid. Coach, you remember Bernie? You remember Bernie Fabiosa from Crispa?
Yes.
Well, he's watching right now too. So he just I just came out. Bernie Fabiosa watching.
That's so nice.
He's based in LA.
Yeah.
So then I just need to ask you. He's been in LA for some time. I need to ask you though, during those days, who were you more impressed with, Crispa or Toyota? Which one were fearsome team when you're going to play against them?
Yeah, good question.
Toyota.
Just because, and the reason why more than anything else is because of Jaworski. Because Jaworski would not let them lose. I mean, it was just one of those kind of things that I don't want to say. Okay, if they were on my team, they would be. If they were on my team, they'd be very physical players. But since they're on the other team, they're dirty players.
All right.
So they
very well said.
They came at you in a way that you have to do the amazing things to beat them. But they're the ones that had the aggression more than any other team. Toyota came after you. Abe King. Oh my God. He was another one that just, he's not gonna back down. He'd rather fight than score a basket. So that was
he's over there too.
Yeah, he's over there.
He's over there in Washington. He's in Washington State.
Yeah. I mean, who?
Abe King. Abe King's there
really?
in Washington State.
Yeah, he also guested a couple of months ago. Yeah.
All those guys are over here in this way. That's nice.
Yeah. So many of the former players are there in the States, actually.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about another Toyota player who passed on several years ago, Arnie Twadless. What was it like going against him? Yeah.
He passed away.
Yeah, that was very tragic.
More than 10 years ago. It was a tragic.
20 years ago, he was shot actually over an argument. It's a very tragic incident. But what do you remember about playing against him? Because many of the former players and imports who we interviewed had Very interesting things to say about his playing style.
He was kind of okay. First of all, I don't think he played to his potential.
Okay.
You know, because he was very, very inconsistent, but he was very, very skilled. And it just seemed like he always had something on his mind. He never seemed like he was really into the games to me. You know, even though some games he had great games, but it just seemed like he just was not sure how good he really was. You know, and with him being on the Toyota team, you know, he had so many other guys, you know, with Twila, you know, with Fernandez, Jaworski, Arnott, you know, they were the mainstays, and then he was like that guy that was kind of lingering, and he let himself linger instead of just opening it up and saying, "Hey, look, I'm going to take over," you know. And then you see those flashes every now and then, you know. But he just never, to me, rose to his potential. You know, that was the thing about him. But he was scary because you know if he lets loose, he was going to just destroy people. You know?
Right, because he did have games he'd suddenly score 40 points, you know. And it would look effortless for him.
Yeah, that's how he was.
And it's it's the funny thing about our chat today, Coach. So many of the guys, I just realized a lot of the guys that we mentioned have passed away, you know, and it's makes it makes you think. It makes you think how things are, how things have been. You know, we talked about Anthony Desalia, we talked about now Artie Twadless, and then a couple of other guys. You mentioned Sky King, you mentioned Lou Brown.
Yeah.
And then and they're all not with us anymore, and so.
And you have to live the life your fullest, but you know you be careful, but you just don't. You know, we could do this interview now, and tomorrow morning, you know, you just never know.
Right. Knock on wood, yeah.
Now I'm knocking on wood right now.
Knock on it a couple times.
yeah. For all of us. Sid, I know you have some questions for Coach Glenn.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, we wrap up all of our episodes with the same question, Coach Glenn. Who are your 5 favorite teammates when you were here in the PBA?
Local.
Yeah, local.
Yeah,
and then I guess your best import teammate as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, one.
Lemon Bang, Boggs. Let's see.
It's always tough.
It is. Fritz would be definitely one.
Fritz, okay. That's 3.
Rudolph Kutch.
Okay. Boycott.
And then Ricky Panetta.
Ricky Pereira.
Yeah, that's a good list.
Those would be my 5 that I could. I probably left somebody off that definitely she could have been in there. So, but those would be my 5 I can think of right offhand.
And how about your import? Your favorite import tandem teammate?
It would have to be Aaron.
Aaron James. Okay.
Aaron James. You know, because Aaron came ready every single night. You know, because I only played with the 2, Snake and Eddie. I mean, Snake,
That's right.
Snake was extremely, extremely talented, but I never knew what I was going to get with Snake. You know, I was just never certain. You know, Aaron, I knew just because since Aaron had been in the NBA and Aaron was a starter for New Orleans when he was in the NBA, and you know, I knew his mentality. You know, game time, what he was going to come with. You know, so. I'd say Aaron. Fortunately, I won championship with both of them, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right.
So go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, aside from Francois, what were the imports that you brought over here, or that you coached?
Oh, we had Francois. We had James Robinson. God, I just talked to him. This way I'll be losing names because I'll be having names.
We've been working your memory for 2 hours, Coach. So it's okay.
What was his name? The little point guard I had. I had a point guard that was he was good. I can't remember his name.
Not Leroy Jackson, right?
Yeah, Leroy's the other one, but there was another one. I had a point guard.
Julius Wayne.
There you go.
That was another one. And then
Thank you, Jay Mercado. Yeah.
And then Daryl Adams. He was a big, Then we had another with Francois, and then we had George Trapp.
Yeah.
John Casmer. I think that's it. I think those are the ones.
That's a lot.
Yeah, because we already played two at a time. Remember?
Yeah.
We could play two imports at a time.
Yes.
So yeah, it was pretty decent. I know Leroy was a phenomenal player. He was about
actually named the dog after him.
He was.
So I remember him so well. I named my dog Leroy. No, but he was special. He was special too.
He was about as big as a toothpick. He was big as a toothpick. But my God, he just had talent. He was wiry and just fearful. You know, he just go after you. Oh God.
I have a question. Can I just?
Go ahead,
I want to bring this in. The Long Beach State team was always called the 49ers. I heard recently they changed their name to the Beach. How do you feel about that?
I don't like it at all. You know, nobody really likes it. The younger people, I guess they're all for it because, you know, now everything's politically correct. You know, the 49ers, they were like slaves and, you know, and all this stuff, you know. So, but most of us are like, first they're talking about the shark. Just call them the shark. And now they say we're just called beach. Not even the beach. It's just beach. You know, but no.
So it's the Long Beach State Beach.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and it was, they changed it because it was Cal State University of Long Beach. Now they changed the name to Long Beach State, you know. So it's Long Beach State University instead of Cal State University, Long Beach, and then it's beach. So, except for the baseball team, the baseball team get to keep their name as the Dirtbags.
Okay.
You know, so
yeah. Because when I read about that when I was when we were going to interview Francois, I read about that and I said, no, he doesn't like it either.
No,
Francois doesn't like it either.
No, they changed. It was bad enough. They changed the color from brown and gold to black and gold. It's just, they're just constantly doing something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know,
Sign of the times.
Yeah, I still wear my brown and gold. You know, I have a hat with brown and gold, and I just every now and then I'll throw it on. And we don't have the mascot anymore, so every now and then I'll put my shirt there with the old mascot and go to the games. And they're like, Glenn, you know, no, I'm old school. So
right.
Well, Glenn, you know, we're going to have to wrap up the show. You know, the title of our show is An Eternity of Basketball. We wish we had an eternity to talk to you. That would be really cool. But you know what? I just want to wrap things up by going through your entire journey from Long Beach State. And then you go to the NBA second year, you win a championship, and you play a critical role in one of the pivotal games in that series. You come over to the Philippines, immediately win a championship, and you leave a lasting legacy in basketball. My final question to you is, how does Glenn McDonald want to be remembered in the world of basketball?
I just want to be remembered as somebody that people could rely on, you know, honestly, not just as a player, but as a person in general, you know, that if someone needs me, you know, I'm really good with students and, you know, different people just giving suggestions, or, you know, people come to me constantly, you know, just for advice, and they know that I'm going to give them the true answer. You know, whatever they ask me, they know that, well, even if it hurts, Glenn's going to tell me what he really feels. And that's just the thing about me. I just want people to understand that, you know, I'm just a normal person, you know, dedicated to whatever I do, and whatever I can do to help other people, I'm going to do.
You've had
people here in the Philippines,
basketball career,
yeah. People in the Philippines remember you. They remember you very much, Coach Glenn. You know, the fans were excited to have you on this show, and then we're really anticipating having you here as well. So great. There are lots of memories from Glenn McDonald here in the Philippines.
I just appreciate you giving me a chance to, you know, be on this show. You know, I didn't know what it was going to be like. This was great. This was really good.
Thank you for being on the show.
If we can get some more people on it, that'd be perfect. That'd be great.
So, and you're getting Bugs on the show for us. So, thank you for that.
Yeah.
We've been trying to get Bugs on the show for months, and all it took was a Glenn McDonald appearance, and Bugs is coming on.
That's great.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
That's my boy.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, also, Glenn, do you want to say a thank you or say hi to anybody, or just give credit to the whole journey from the NBA to the Philippines? Are there people that you want to acknowledge because you had such a great journey?
I think it's just, I don't have any particular names. It's just the people that were involved in my life, have all, been good to me. And I've just been blessed, to have met such, genuine people that really care about me and, want to see how everything's going with me. So I just thank all those people from when I came to the Philippines, when I came back to the States, just like my college teammates, and it's just been great. I can't complain about anything within my life, with my family and everything else. So I just have to say thank you to those who have been involved in my life.
All right. Thank you very much. It's been wonderful having you on. And guys, before we close, I just want to say probably Glenn can't think of an NBA player who plays like Glenn McDonald, but I know of a PBA player who reminds me of Glenn McDonald. And I'm going to segue to that because his jersey is up for the auction right now. We are trying to raise funds for our sports broadcasting and production personnel who have been sidelined because of this pandemic. We haven't had work for a long time, so we have been doing an auction. And the guy I remember who plays like Glenn McDonald in the PBA is the guy who wore this for the Philippines. You guys know who number 10 Philippines?
Who's that?
Number 10 in the Philippines. His name is Gabe Norwood. Two-way player, excellent two-way player, great offensive player, great defensive player. And his jersey is now going up for auction. It's a signed jersey, Gilas Pilipinas. Watch this kid, Glenn. Reminds me a lot about you, and probably you'll see the similarities. His name is Gabe Norwood.
He played for George,
the Final Four.
So,
he led George Mason to the Final Four, I think, in 2006. Yeah, George Mason University. He played there. Okay.
Yeah. So his jersey is going up for auction. I'm going to post it at the end of the show where you can actually bid for this. We've been getting a lot of bids for the Jeff Chan jersey, the Jeff Chan uniform the past couple of days. But right now we do have this Gabe Norwood Gilas practice jersey, which he has signed. I don't know if you can see it, but he signed this already. This is going up for auction right now. So the Gabe Norwood, captain of the national team, Gilas jersey is going up for bids. Now that I have the screen on to myself, here it is. Once again, here it is. The Gabe Norwood. Yeah. It's got a signature on it. Yeah, it's got a signature on it. Okay. So this is the Gabe Norwood Gilas jersey. It's going up for bids. So we're going to announce that later on. Once again, before we close the show, we'd like to thank Glenn McDonald for sharing your incredible journey with us. The first NBA champion to win a PBA title. Glenn, thank you very much for being on the show. We appreciate the time, and thank you for reminiscing with us.
This has been great. I really appreciate it, and maybe I can come back again.
Yeah, sure.
Of course, you'll always be welcome.
Yeah, you'll always be welcome on the show, and maybe you can just bring in Aaron James as well.
Maybe we'll get back on there once the Celtics win the championship this year.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
I don't know about that. Let's see. I don't know. I'll think about it.
Charlie's having a hard time smiling. Yeah.
That's the plan. Okay. All right, guys. That's all the time we have. We've got a little overtime, of course, with Glenn McDonald. Thank you very much. And of course, this coming Tuesday, we do have another episode of An Eternity of Basketball. We'd like to thank, of course, our partners here, Globally Ballin, for joining our team. And Globally Ballin, the Globally Ballin Network, that's where you will be finding An Eternity of Basketball. Of course, just a reminder again to everybody that you can find this show, including some of the old episodes in audio form on Spotify by simply searching An Eternity of Basketball on the search bar. There it is right there. And now you can take us on the go and never miss an episode. So check it out today. An Eternity of Basketball is now on Spotify. So that's all the time we have for An Eternity of Basketball for this morning. Thank you very much, Glenn McDonald. And on behalf of my partners, Sid Ventura, attorney Charlie Cuna, on Tuesday, we will be having one of the enforcers ng PBA. Isa sa mga pinakamabigat na malalaro. In fact, Joe Cantada called him the mini enforcer at one point in his career. We will be having on Tuesday, August 11th at 6 p.m. Philippine time, Onchi de la Cruz will be guesting on an eternity of basketball. So one of the enforcers of the PBA. It's going to be a very physical episode, and we hope to have all of you there. For Glenn McDonald, for Sid Ventura, and attorney Charlie Cuna, my name is Noel Zarate. Thank you once again for joining us on an eternity of basketball. Everybody, have a safe weekend.
All right, Coach.
All right.
Take care.
All right, Coach Glenn, thank you very much.